Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina and today is January the 2nd. I did not record on January the 1st. I stitched. I stitched a lot. I was really on a roll. I wanted to stitch New Year's Day as much as possible. We had a very quiet New Year's Day and I was really given the privilege of stitching as much as I wanted to. So I did. And I was working on a new yearly challenge, and the yearly challenge is based on a number of stitches. And to get the maximum benefit out of my stitching, I needed to stitch a minimum of 300 stitches on each prompt, and I have 8 prompts to finish for the first month. There will be 8 prompts every month. So I thought, oh, that's a lot of stitching. So I decided that I would tackle it with a vengeance, and I would just stitch on one of my 3 focus pieces, because this challenge you had to identify 3 focus pieces that you wanted to get a lot of stitching into during the year. And so one of my pieces was pandemic. So yesterday I actually got 906 stitches in pandemic. So here's where I'm at. Now, I'll put a picture in here of where I was before. And here is where I've gotten to. So you can tell by comparison, I had stopped about right here on this motif where the light blue is just beginning to turn, and I wound up finishing that motif. And then I came up here, and the only thing I had up here was this little pretty piece here, and this had a piece coming down over here. So I came over here. Well, I think this was here too. Anyway, you just saw the picture, so you know. This, I know I started here and came all down here. And then I met up with this beautifully. Oh, what a relief. And I took the turn and I started here. And this is going to go down to this corner and actually go into the tail end of this corner of this page. I left it because it was all one piece. So this is what 906 stitches got me. And as you can tell, this is the page right here that I have to finish for whip go. And so I made great progress on this, and I'm just loving those colors. This is one thread. It's DMC 93. It's highly variegated. We've talked about it before. So that's pandemic from yesterday. And then today, my second focus piece for my year-long challenge is Enchanted Alphabet. And I'll remind you of what that looks like. And this was my birthday start, and I got the letter E started on the far edge. So today I needed 300 stitches on this one, and I came in and did 353, and I put in the B and the A in that beautiful alphabet. So now my C and D will be next. C is right under here, and then D is over to the side. And then you drop down underneath here and do the F, G, H. And when I finish that, I will have finished the first page of this. So this is going with me on my trip. Looking forward to that. I have quite a few things going on my trip, so I'm not sure what kind of mood I'll be in to stitch, you know, and I want to have plenty to stitch with. In the meantime, I would like to insert a picture. My son and I were goofing around today. He had wanted to get me something special for my birthday, but he was waiting to make sure that we were going to get to go because my birthday present was so specific. But I mentioned we're going on a cruise. My son got me a gift card for cruise credit, so I can either get my nails done or get a massage or, you know, something while we're there on the ship. I can spend it on the boat. And he didn't want to get that unless he thought pretty sure we were going. So he waited. He told me, he said, I know you think I forgot your birthday. He said, but I was waiting, you know, to get this for you, which was just like him to do something that kind. So today we were hanging out. We'd had lunch and we were hanging out together and he had given me my birthday card and with my gift card in it. And I told my husband, I said, get a picture of me with JT, you know, since he gave me such a sweet gift, I want a picture of this day. And my son started making faces. And he made one face after another. And in the first photograph, he's making a face, and I'm not realizing it. In the second one, I am, and I'm getting tickled. By the third one that my husband took, I have my head down. I'm laughing so hard. And finally, by the last picture, my son said, okay, take a good one, and he behaved. So just to show you his sense of humor, I'll put it in here in row. So the reason you're going to see the same picture over and over again is watch his face. He's making faces at the camera. Anyway. It was a lovely afternoon. Well, I think that's my update for you today. I don't have anything else to share with you, so I will let you get back to what you're doing, and I'm about ready to start going through my stitching bag to make sure I have needles and scissors and all the things that I'm going to need while I'm on the boat. In the meantime, everybody, happy stitching. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 5th of January and I'm here to give you a bit of a stitching update. I have started off with a bang. I'm in WibGo for the year, I'm in Bringo for the month of January, and in the monthly magazine group for each month's acrostic. I'm in 24 Hours Across Stitch for the monthly acrostic. I'm in Cross Stitch Finish Line for different things that they may post, especially their stitchathons. I'm hoping to do some 24-hour cross stitch marathons if they do them this year. I'm in another Facebook group that does prompts every 2 weeks, and I'm in a yearly challenge this year. And we get a monthly assignment, and it's a doable assignment, and it's you pick the level that you want to stitch at, but every month you stitch on one of 3 whips that you declared up front that you just want to get a lot of stitching done on. And so for me, that was pandemic. And I've been doing so much crazy stitching and posting in the last couple of days, I don't even know what I've shown you. So I don't know if you've seen Pandemic since the last time I worked on it. I don't think you have, but I'm going to share it with you just to show you where I'm at. And if I've already shared this with you, please accept my apologies, but I do think you'll see a little bit of progress on here. I think that since I shared this with you, I have finished this diagonal and I have gotten that motif done. So basically, I'll look at the pattern over here. This page is finished from here all the way down to here. So page 1 is completely done because this piece right here ran into page 1. I had left it blank so I could get it with this. But from here to here, it's complete. So page 1 is completely done. And page 2, it goes to right here. So on this little corner, I have a full motif, which is the mirror of this, and then I have a partial motif below it and a partial motif to the side of it that starts running into the next page. And up here in these little spots up here are little butterflies. So I've probably got about 2 motifs and 2 butterflies to stitch, and I'll have my page finish. And you guys know what the page finish is? It's my Whip Go goal that was called in January. A page finish was my Whip Go goal for pandemic, and that space was actually called in January. And so chances are good when I get back from vacation that I can finish this page this month. And I was thinking it might take me the whole year to get that done. That's good for another reason too. I'm in a Georgia Stitchers Guild, and we have a journey piece each year, and I failed miserably last year on the journey piece. And so this year I decided I was going to use pandemic for my journey piece, and then I was going to just declare 2 pages. I was going to have a whole 9 months to get 2 pages done. So if I can go ahead and finish this 1 page, now I'm halfway there. That makes me feel really promising anyway. So another prompt that I'm doing this month is this week, is for 2 weeks, is one about snowmen, and it has 5 prompts that you meet, and one of those prompts was to stitch on something that reminded you of winter, and you got 3 extra points if you had something with a snowman actually in that project. So I brought out my Flaky Friends. That was one of my starts in December, and I worked more on that border, and look at that. I have 1 more of the sections of the bubbles, the little, what I'm calling bubbles, little circles, and I will have that border completed. Is that exciting? I got over 500 stitches in this today. I'm pretty excited about that. So since I have gotten so much done on this one, I'm going to leave it here. I'm not going to take it with me on my trip. I had planned to, but it's I've already stitched on it for all the prompts that I need. It was on my Bringo board twice, and I had thought, well, I'll just go ahead and stitch the 200 stitches I need for both spaces, and I'll just mark one of them uncalled but done. And today, the number for tomorrow was published, and it's number 7, and that was the 2nd number for this piece. So I have already stitched my Bringo for this piece for tomorrow, because I did it today, and I did 500 stitches, so I have way more than the 200 stitches required, you know, for the 2 different spaces. So that's pretty awesome that I've got that done. So here's where I'm at again on the little snowman flat fold that I'm doing, and I'm excited about that, to get that much done. So I will leave this one here, which will make my packing a little bit easier. I have completed my packing, and we will be leaving early in the morning. We take Coco to the dog sitters about 7 in the morning, and as soon, my husband's gonna take her and let me stay here and get ready, and then as soon as he gets back, we will head on to the airport, and we're flying into Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we will be there 1 night before we get on our boat. We're going on a cruise, I think I may have told you, and we get on our boat on Thursday. And hopefully, if our friends are healthy and well, we have friends we used to live in the same town with, and they first moved to Florida, and then we moved to Gainesville. We have not seen them in a number of years now, and they are going to be, they live about 45 minutes from where we're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. So if they're healthy and well, we're going to meet them for dinner. I say that because we made plans to meet for dinner, and then today the husband started getting a scratchy throat and not feeling great, and they don't want to get us exposed to anything. So if he's not feeling 100% tomorrow, then we won't meet them for dinner. And the wife has already told me she's going to be really mad at him if we don't get to meet for dinner. And the funny thing is he can't control that at all. So I think that's kind of where I am on my stitching. I'm taking, I think it's 6 projects with me. Don't know that I'll stitch on all of them, but that gives me variety to take with me, and they're all smalls, are fairly small. They're the ones that I have that I use Q-snaps with. That was one of the criteria that I used. So I didn't want to take, roller frames because I have to pack them. And if they, for some reason, think they're a weapon or they want to confiscate them, I would be arrested. Because those things are not inexpensive, and I wouldn't want them to confiscate one of those. So, you just never know. So I'm taking projects that I can use with my Q-snaps. And I think I've got about 6, because my friend Donna told me 3 wouldn't be enough. So we'll see. But I'm gonna say goodnight, and I don't know if I'll be able to film while I'm gone or not, but if I can, I will, and share my stitching with you, share maybe some of the crews with you, if I can. And so I hope that you'll enjoy that with me. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everyone. I don't know how often I'll get the opportunity to film while I'm traveling, but we have flown to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and spent the night in a Hampton Inn near the airport. When we walked in, there was a wonderful stitching spot, and I have a little clip that I'll put in here when I walked in the room what I saw. This was my stitchy spot last night in the hotel. Isn't this awesome? I'd never seen one like this before. We're at a Hampton Inn near the port, and I came in the door, and my husband and I looked at each other, and he said, "That looks like a chair you need in a stitching room." I don't know, maybe that sparked an idea. But needless to say, I settled in after dinner, and I got a little stitching done. I got about 328 stitches in this piece. But I'm going to have to ask my sister to look away, because this is something I'm working on for her next year. I'll remind everyone else what it looks like. And here is mine. I've gotten a lot of progress done on that, and I'm excited about it, but I'm not sure I'm loving those DMC conversions. So I may wind up blending another color in there. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Okay, Stephanie, you can look back now. So my hope is that I'll be able to share with you at least periodically what I'm working on, what we're doing on the ship. We're anticipating a lot less activity on the ship than what we're used to in the past, mainly because of COVID and them trying not to give too many opportunities for people to spread it. But we had our mask on all day yesterday traveling. At the airport, it's now required to have your mask on in the airport and on the plane for the entire flight, unless you are eating. And so we wore a mask all day yesterday, and we did pretty well. It's not what you're used to if you haven't been in a situation where you've had to wear it all the time, which we haven't. So that was a little bit of an adjustment, but I'm kind of glad we had a day to do that before we got to the boat. So it won't be quite such a shock, to our system. Anyway, I hope you're having a great time. I know I will be. And today we are taking an Uber over to the port at about 12 o'clock. and we're supposed to be able to check in about 12:30. So that'll give us plenty of time to settle in before we disembark around 4:30 that afternoon. So in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everyone. This is Dina. I am in my stateroom on the ship, and I am going to try to record a few things as I go on my trip. It's been a couple of days. We got on the ship on Thursday, and probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and we set sail about 4:30. And then yesterday, that was Thursday. Then Friday and Saturday, we were at sea, 2 days at sea. And it was wonderful. We had great food, great entertainment. Our shows at night are fabulous. And my husband and I have been playing all sorts of trivia. We originally thought they weren't going to have a lot of activities on board, and they don't have everything that they always did. But they have quite a bit, and so we haven't been bored at all. And the very first day at sea, I noticed that they had the knitting group. They called them Knitters and Natters. And I went to join them, and when I first walked up there were only 2 ladies, but by the time we finished, oh my goodness, we had about 5 or 6 of us there. And then yesterday was another day at sea, and so we met again at 9:30 in the morning, and we had about 8 of us there. And I'm hoping that today we'll have at least a few. We are in port today. We aren't there yet. We had a bit of a delay, so I want to tell you about that, and then I want to show you my stitching. When we left Fort Lauderdale, we had been sailing for a good number of hours. I'm not sure exactly how many, but we were a ways away. We were well on our way. And it was 3 a.m. in the morning, the first night of our cruise on Friday morning at 3 a.m. Our captain came on, and that's never a good thing to hear your captain at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said there was a medical emergency for a passenger, and it was not COVID related, but they were going to have to get that passenger to a hospital, and they had no alternative but to turn around and cruise right back to Fort Lauderdale. So that's what we did. They turned the boat around. They cruised as quickly as they could. They got into Fort Lauderdale that morning. I don't know exactly what time, 9 or 10, somewhere in there, and got that patient transferred to a hospital and got everything situated, and we set sail again. So that's been exciting already. The good news is the passenger was delivered to the hospital safely, and they are in an ICU, but the word that we've been given, we haven't been officially given, but the gossip on the ship is that it was a lady who was having a heart attack. And so what that told me is that this captain is very concerned about patient safety and will do whatever it takes to keep one of his passengers safe, and that made me feel really good. So we are getting into our port a little later than normal. We would have been here, when we woke up, but instead we're going to be getting to Aruba at about 11:30 today. So a few excursions had to be rescheduled, but that's well worth it. So anyway, that's the excitement we've had so far. I hope that's all. So what does that mean for my stitching? I have had the most wonderful stitching on the ship. I've done all the activities I wanted to do. I've gone and done things. My husband's gone and done things. We've done things together. It's just been lovely. But having the stitching group in the morning, we're scheduled to stitch 45 minutes. but we tend to stitch all the way to lunch. And then my husband and I go to lunch together. And then when I get back in the room after we've done our things that we want to do in the middle of the day, I settle in to stitch for a couple of hours before we go to dinner. And then, of course, after dinner, we go to show. We go play trivia or whatever game shows they're doing. We're not that good at it. I'll tell you about that in another one, but well, it's really not a lot to tell. We get about half of them, so we're not that good when it comes to knowing the sitcoms or knowing some of the music, but you know what? It's fun. It's fun, and we're learning things. We've met some delightful people at dinner. We did something different this year and sat at a table for two, but the tables for two are sat in a row in a lot of groupings, and so if you want to talk to the people next to you, they're close enough that it's not awkward to be talking. But what I like about it is that we're socially distanced quite a bit, and so you can talk, but you're not right up in somebody's face. Pardon me. So that's been fun, and we've had great conversations at dinner when it's just the two of us or when it's with other people, and so we're thoroughly enjoying ourselves. So in the last 2 days that I've been stitching, I've been concentrating on one piece in the room, and I would take something different with me as I'm, stitching with the group. So the very first day I stitched on my focus piece with the group, and then yesterday I stitched with something different. But today I want to share with you what I've been stitching. And I have been stitching this Sewn in Friendship. This is the Plum Street sampler side of this duo, and I've finished. My friend Donna will be laughing right now because remember, she told me to take more than 3 things because I was going to finish one of them before we got out of port. I didn't quite make it before we got out of port, but my second day in, I finished it. So here's mine, and I do want to tell you just a couple of things about this piece. There are hearts that are in the really pale pink, the lightest pink. Those hearts are charted to be in a light color that actually is the exact color of my fabric. I started to put the first heart in that color and said, ooh, I'm not gonna be able to see this at all. And so I looked at the color palette, and this light pink was for the cheek, 1X in the cheek and in the tail and feathers, and that's the only place it was used other than in 1 or 2 of the strawberries. So I thought, well, I'm just going to use it for the hearts. So I elected to change my pale ecru looking heart to the lightest shade of pink so that it would be visible in the piece. And that is really the only thing that I changed. I stitched everything else. It's not in the overdyes. This one is actually in DMC. It's got the DMC conversion right on the pattern, and that's what I used. Oh, there is one other thing I changed. I changed the P that's here for Plum Street to my initial D for Dina. Personalized it just a little bit. So this is a finish. I'm finished with it. I'm gonna roll it up and put it in my little project bag. One of the ladies at the stitching meetup was fascinated with the project bags. She had never seen one. It's been a great deal of fun there. We have quite a few knitters there because that's really the focus of the group. But, you know, most of us are multi-craftural people. And so these knitters also either cross stitch or they crochet or they quilt. We've had lots to talk about. One of the ladies that's there owns a quilt shop, owns her own quilt shop, and she has a long arm quilter, and we started asking her for business cards, and she said she didn't bring any with her because she's trying to be on vacation and she is so booked up she doesn't need any more business. She said it's a dying craft, and people, when they find her, you know, she just gets tons of business. So anyway, there are 2 ladies there that are doing needlepoint, and they needlepoint together long distance every day because they live in different states now, but they're best friends, And they pick a lot of them that are the same, and they do them the same at the same time, but they make them their own. And so then they love to compare what they do with each other, and whipped out their telephones, showed me samples. It was great. We're like pulling out the phone with our grandchildren, showing our pictures of what we've stitched. It's been fun. I'm having a great time. So I just wanted to touch base with you because I had a finish, and wanted to share it with you. I hope to be able to film maybe again at least once while I'm on the trip. I would love to be able to show you more progress. I won't show you the other piece because I stitched 3 flowers. That was it. So I'll work on it again later and share it with you, but I just wanted to touch base. I've missed everybody. I can't get to my comments because it eats up so much of my time. Being international, it's a little different, and so I'm not able to get on Facebook, and I can't watch YouTube. And I'm telling you, that is really, really different. I had to put a book on tape on the TV yesterday. My husband found me one, just to have something to listen to, because I'm used to watching YouTube when I stitch. So it was kind of quiet in here, but I miss you all. So looking forward to getting back with you, but I'm enjoying my trip and my stitching. So I hope you are, and I hope you're healthy and well, and looking forward to the rest of my vacation, and looking forward to getting back with you. So in the meantime, everybody, happy stitching. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Nina, and I am coming to you from the beautiful island of Bonaire in the Caribbean. And I'm in my stateroom. I'm not actually on the island at the moment. Big rainstorm this morning. Didn't last long, but was a huge downpour. One of my fellow stitchers got caught in it. Oh, she came back soaking wet. Anyway, I've been having a fabulous trip. I haven't filmed a lot since I've been on the boat because I've been just enjoying everything that it has to offer. And my husband and I have been to the shows in the evenings. We've played tons of trivia games. Last night we sat out by the pool on the lounge chairs with blankets and popcorn and Diet Coke, and watched the SEC championship game, and our Georgia Bulldogs won, and that was quite fun. We had a couple we've met on board at dinner who were rooting for Alabama, and we sat right next to each other. So one of us was yelling at all the time. Great fun, but it didn't get over till about 1 o'clock this morning. So we slept in a little bit later than normal, and then we just started our day. So I have been stitching every day, even though the knitters and natters are scheduled to be on days when we're at sea. You know how stitchers are. We come every day, it doesn't matter. If you're in port or not, those who are not on an excursion at that time meet up at 9:30 in the same spot, and we stay there till lunch, whatever that is for each person. The group has ebbed and flowed. I think I've met everybody that's intending to come, and it's been a great mix of ladies, and no men yet, but we're open to that if there's any guys on board that want to stitch. It was interesting too, because there have been on at least 2 occasions where one of the knitters has gotten up and gone over and taught another knitter a stitch they were struggling with, or a new way to cast on. It's just been wonderful to see them help one another. And one of the ladies does knitting and needlepoint and cross stitch, and she has been watching some floss tubers and gave me some new names to look up, and took mine down because she wants to get onto my channel when she gets back, which is great. Anyway, it's been great fun. I'm loving it, but I haven't filmed very much, so I have a little bit of catching up to do. This won't be the typical every little day I give you a little bit of what I've been doing. So I actually have 3 days worth to show you, I think, today. So apologies for that, but I just want to share with you what I've been able to work on and how much fun it's been. So for the first one that I want to share with you, this is what I stitched on Sunday. And today's Tuesday, by the way. I forgot to tell you. It's January 11th. So I pulled out my dogwood lace and took it with me because being monochromatic, I felt like this would be pretty easy to do in a group, you know, when you're trying to talk and get to know one another. And so I took this one with me. And this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. And when I got on board, I had completed the border. I had the border done. So when I started stitching this time, I had to start stitching on the flowers that are in the inside. So I started in this top left corner, just like I started on the border there. And that's what I've gotten done so far. I actually stitched 774 stitches in this one. And that's a combination of stitching in the morning time with everyone else and then coming back here in the afternoon for a little while before we went to dinner. And then if I was, you know, still wide awake after the show, because we're going to the 8 o'clock show, and then we're playing trivia. And so we're, you know, we're back here by about 10:30. And sometimes I'm stitching a little bit before I go to bed just to relax. So that represents, you know, maybe 3 different times in that one day that I stitched. But let me tell you something. I started this motif, as I said, in the upper corner. And I stitched all across here. And then I came up here and I stitched over here. And then I filled, you know, went over here. So this part was done. And I was moving on to this part when I realized this wasn't fitting. And it's a whole flower. And because this is a replicated pattern, it has to be right or it's not going to match. You're going to notice it with your eye if something is different. So I had to frog half of this flower back out and figure out what had I done wrong. And what I had done wrong is I had started this little stem over here off the wrong corner. And so as it turned out, I had it one too far over or one too far. It was this way because this flower didn't have room. It was hitting up against this one. This one is a partial flower. This one is a full flower. I fixed it. I actually frogged it. And so I got it put back in. I stayed up till about 1 o'clock or 1:30 stitching this one that night because I was determined to put back in what I had ripped out and then finish that little part of the motif so that I would not dread pulling this back out, you know, not having something to fix about it. So that's a good news story. Got that one taken care of. And I love the way that it's looking. I think it's going to be a fun stitch. Now, Monday, I pulled out my Enchanted alphabet, and I thought this one, because it's lettering, should be easy enough to do. I'll remind you of what that's going to look like when I finish it. And when I brought this on board to work on, I had stitched the E, the B, and the A. So I had stitched the E here, the B here, and the A. I had worked those 3 because this is where it started. So let me show you where I got to now. I made a bit of progress. So I did C and D, and then came down here and did the flowers and the F. And I discovered I don't have one of the colors in my flosses for the flowers. I didn't put 676 in there. So I will have a look through at some of my other projects to see if I have it with me so I can come on in here and put that one last color in the flowers. Because to finish an entire page of this, I have to do the letter G and part of H, and that's the first page finished. So I definitely want to do that before the end of the cruise if I can. I'd love to go back with a page finish. Wouldn't that be fun? So that's what I got done on Monday. And on Monday, I put in 611 stitches. So I'm getting some good stitching time in here. I'm loving it. Today, when I went to the stitching meetup, I pulled out my Little House Needleworks Pops filling station. And when I brought it on board, I had done the car, half of the tree, and a little bit of the white around the building. And I had the snow, one layer of snow under the tree. There are several here, but I had just done the top one. So today, when I was stitching with the group, this is just group stitching that I got done. I finished the brown in the tree. I put the wreath on the tree. I stitched the red part of the bird. And then I came on over here and I did this part of the roof. There'll be snow on the top of the roof. And so I got that part done. And I put in the greenery and the little berries that are there on the side of the door to the garage. So I'm making progress. I was working mainly across the top, kind of working across and down, but had a good time doing that, and it was going pretty well. And everybody wanted to know what I was working on and what it was going to look like in the end, and I was able to pull out some pictures of my table this past Christmas and show the whole village, and that was fun. I think everybody had a good time looking at that and seeing kind of how this is going to wind up, which will be great. So that's my progress for today. That's my stitching that I've been doing and loving it. And today, I've got to decide whether I'm going to stay in and stitch or whether I want to go by the pool and get hot and sweaty. We'll see. Tonight we have a magician on board. The shows have been fabulous, and I don't know whether we'll make it to the magician or not, because there's a movie we might want to see, so we'll have to make a choice later. But our evenings have been fun. My husband and I have chosen to spend a lot of time together in the evenings doing dinner and then shows and then trivia games and everything until we're ready to go to bed. So that's sort of our time, like a date time. And but he has been so gracious every morning. We have breakfast together, and then he walks with me and drops me off at the stitching meetup and says, I'll see you for lunch, and comes back and gets me at lunch. It's been great fun. He's been so supportive of me wanting to stitch while cruising. A lot of people wouldn't want to do that. They'd want to be out and about all the time. And he gets to go and do what he wants to do. Today he wanted to do an excursion. He wanted to ride bikes all over the island. There was an excursion for that, and it was sold out. So then he thought he would do a tour that was on sort of like a go-kart kind of thing with a sail on it. A car with a sail on it. You know, that sounded right up his alley. And it was sold out. And then there was one other, it's like a four-seater, four-wheeler kind of thing that you go over rough terrain with. And it was a driving tour, and you drove your own vehicle. And that was sold out. So everything he wanted to do that was, you know, things he likes to do, outdoors and quite physical, they were all sold out. And I was so surprised because, you know, there are a lot of people our age and older on the boat and not that many younger. So we got some pretty active people here. It works out well. This will be our final island today. And the next 2 days we will be at sea. So I'll have plenty of stitching time during the day, and that'll be great fun. So hopefully I'll have some more to share with you in a few days, and give you our plans as far as how we're getting home and how things are going. But a little side note, our dog sitters have been sending me pictures of Coco every single day. And I have never could have imagined how much I miss her. It is as if I have left a little baby at home. It really is, y'all. I think of her all the time. I miss her terribly. Whip out the phone and show pictures like she's my grandbaby. I mean, you know, it's just really sad. But I have some precious pictures of her at Fred's. It got really cold, so Giselle, one of the couple that keep her, the wife of the couple, she pulled out one of Fred's old coats and put it around Coco, and she's got this little blue coat on her. It is so cute. And she wore it for 2 days. I mean, every picture I got for 2 days, she's in that coat. Even on the couch inside, it must have gotten like a really cold snap back home. It's 83 degrees here, Fahrenheit. It's lovely. It's really nice. But I got really tickled at Giselle. She's been really sweet. She'll write me and tell me how happy Coco is and that she's having a good time. And in one of the pictures, it looked like she was frowning, like she was so sad. And I told Giselle, I said, I think I am transferring my feelings of missing her onto her picture. She looks sad. And Giselle said, no, she's having a great time, but she does love you. And she said, Coco says she loves you. It was really sweet. But I have pictures to share. So you'll see quite a few pictures at the end of Coco while she is vacationing at Fred's. So I'll share some of those with you. I may not share them all. I may save a few, you know, for a later video. But anyway, have fun enjoying her visit as well. And until I get a chance to film again and show you more progress, happy stitching, everybody. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 13th of January. We are sailing toward Fort Lauderdale. We'll be there in the morning. So today was my last day with the stitching group, the knitters and natters as they call themselves. And I was very close to a finish, so I took that piece with me this morning and finished it with the group. And one of the ladies asked if she could take a picture of me with my finish, and I said yes, but of course because we were in a group I had to keep my mask on. So I have a picture with me and my finish, and it'll show you what life is like on the ship when I'm not in my own stateroom like I am now. So you'll see it. I'll insert it here. Yep, there I am. So I finished my Pop's Garage, and as I mentioned, I was going to change the sign. The sign says filling station, but I changed mine, and it says Sinclair Oil because that was the station that my father owned a franchise of when I was, probably before I was born. I'm not even sure if he still had it when I was born, but I have pictures of it. Anyway, this is my finish. I'll put a piece of paper behind it so you can see it. I haven't been able to iron anything because I don't want to go down to the room, the laundromat, just to iron this one piece. So here's my finish. I think it's really cute. After I stitched all this, I realized rather than a Christmas kind of star, I could have put a dinosaur there had I thought about it. But you can see it says Sinclair Oil. I've recharted that. And otherwise, it's as charted. Even the puppy dog. I didn't even change that because it looked a lot like Coco. So I just left it the way it was. Anyway, I'm thrilled to be finished with it. I think it looks really cute. It's going to make a great addition to my little village. I even had pictures, you know, from Christmas of my village on my table this year. And I was able to show the ladies how I intended to finish this piece, you know, into a flat fold and add it to my village. So that was great, great fun. So now I am having to do the terrible chore of packing up, and that just sort of confirms, you know, that your trip is almost over. And I've also been watching and listening about our weather back home. You know, it was 86 degrees here yesterday. I actually laid by the pool and got a little tiny bit of pink. It was great. But I'm going home to a storm, and it's going to rain and snow, and we're on the lookout for anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow on Sunday after we get home. So my plans are pretty simple. Head home, hit the grocery store, get staples in case we're stuck in the house for a few days. I'm hoping that the snow will melt pretty quickly. I love it when it first falls, but I don't like being trapped by it. So I don't think we'll have a problem, but I want to be prepared. And I have gotten more pictures of Coco, and in each picture, even inside the house, she's got on a coat. Our dog sitter, Giselle, said that it's been very cold there. And she and Fred have been playing, and Fred has on a sweater. It's so cute. I'll put a couple of pictures of that in for you too, with Fred in his sweater and Coco in her coat, which is probably one of Fred's old coats. But needless to say, they're having a good time. And I found out that her buddy, her other little Labradoodle friend named Muddy, is going to be there Saturday, and that's the day we pick her up. So she'll get to play with Muddy all morning while we're getting our groceries and the house put together and my laundry done, and or throw a load in at least, and then we'll go pick her up late in the afternoon, just so she can play with Muddy. But I tell you, if I had my way, I'd probably pick her up about 8 o'clock in the morning, because I have missed that little girl more than I can tell you. Anyway, so that's it. Our cruise has been fantastic. We've had a great time, great entertainers. I have enjoyed meeting the ladies in my Knitters and Natters group. I'll tell you more about them a little bit, some of the wonderful lives that they have led, and maybe share a story or two along the way that they shared with us. So that's all I have to share with you today. I have been working on my silks and wools today a little bit, using my Valdani threads, and so I can show you where I'm at, I guess, right now. Since I've been on board, I have finished the border. I've done these 3 little flowers up there, and I've started the words that go here. And then, of course, the next thing will be the little sheep and the basket of flowers. I had thought this would be one that I would finish on the cruise, but I only have today, and we get off the boat first thing in the morning. I will have some time, possibly at the airport, because we were worried about how quickly we would get from the ship to the airport, so we booked kind of a later flight in the afternoon. And as it turns out, I think we could have booked a much earlier flight. So we're probably going to have a bit of time at the airport, and I might be able to pull out some stitching there. So who knows? I'm definitely going to take this one with me to the airport, because it's kind of easy to read the pattern. So it'll be good. Well, I have a lot to share with you and talk with you about, so I hope to do a little bit more of that as we get home. But for now, I've got to finish packing. Oh, I hope you've had a great few days that I've been sailing. I feel a little disconnected because I haven't been able to update you every day and show you what I've been doing quite so much. I've missed you. So, but I have had a great time. We've met a couple that I have shared some good times with, and I'll share a little bit about that maybe as we go along through the future videos as well. I don't want to just talk about the whole trip all at one time, because then it'll just be nothing but talking. So I don't want to bore you. But anyway, suffice it to say, it was a real privilege to get to go somewhere after all the time that we have been hunkered down, you know, due to COVID. And I will say that they have very rigorous requirements here. Every time you go anywhere into a place that serves food, whether it's a little sidebar or it's a cafeteria or it's a restaurant, doesn't matter. Even if you're cutting through one of them, you have to put your hands under the sanitizer, and you have to sanitize your hands. So that's awesome. I'll let you go back to what you were doing, and I hope that I'll have an update for you after we get back. Happy stitching, everyone.